title of this press conference is Let the Whole World Tell Governor Godwin Obaseki that his second-term ambition is not worth the blood and life of any Edo State citizen. Less than 1 month to the Edo governorship election, and with defeat staring Mr. Godwin Obaseki and his party of tax collectors, the PDP, in the face, they have both abandoned their pretense at democracy and guided participation in the election, and brazenly and unbridledly embarked on the execution of their plans to prevent the people of Edo State from delivering a verdict on the 4-year misrule of Obaseki at the polls on the 19th of September with violence and other criminal acts that borders and verges on intimidation and jackboot oppression. Let it be known by the whole world that the governor of Edo State and his government, in continuation of their disregard for the rule of law, democratic ethics and ethos, and constitutionalism, has intensified their illegal importation of dangerous arms and ammunition, as well as the daily recruitment and importation of notorious thugs and criminals from neighboring PDP states, particularly Delta, for the purpose of causing mayhem and disrupting peaceful conduct of the election in most parts of Edo State. We have it on good authority that the Edo State government and members of its kitchen cabinet have drawn up a list of prominent APC leaders across Edo State that they have targeted for maiming, physical assault, assassination, kidnapping, and sponsored robbery attacks, whilst also tinkering with the idea of using heavy-duty trailers to orchestrate road accidents of APC leaders before or on the day of the September 19th governorship election. In Oredo, Ward 3, for example, Oredo local government in Edo State, the ward where I vote, there have been multiplication of firearms given to mobilized thugs, as if firearms have become political chewing gums. And this is replicated in practically all the nooks and crannies of the political theater that is Edo State just now. Guns to shoot whom? Let Godwin Obaseki be aware and be told by the whole world that this business of electioneering franchise has to do with the winning of the souls and minds of the people. It does not have to do with guns, arms, and ammunition. Edo citizens are not slaves. Edo citizens are peacemakers. We are alarmed at the rapid multiplication of these firearms and the now too common presence of violent groups with prolific ammunition who are on the march with the Edo State governor as he campaigns from place to place, and in the process, terrorizing the people and leaving behind an unfortunate and lugubrious trail of blood, tears, sorrows everywhere he goes during his campaigns. Rather than excite, Mr. Governor's campaign trail has now become a bad omen, a harbinger of evil, and a stage of wanton violence and shootings, causing residents to flee their homes upon hearing news of the outgoing governor's visit. This was indeed the case on Wednesday, August 19th, in Ikwebe local government, when thugs hired and armed by the Edo State government turned their guns on each other and shot an innocent citizen in the fracas and melee that ensued. We are disappointed, disheartened, and extremely repulsed by the fact that a government that failed the youths and derided them at every turn has now gone ahead to place guns purchased with state resources that could have gone into empowerment schemes in the hands of same, urging them to wreak havoc and risk their lives and those of others in the process. We are equally aghast at the fact that a governor that spent 4 years chasing away investors from Edo State with his tyranny, bad faith and targeted policies, and destruction of people's legitimate properties on the account of their political views, has now committed a humongous amount of state resources to the mobilization of thugs, cult groups, assassins, and other criminals into the state to carry out his murderous plans, all in a bid to avoid a fate sealed for himself with his incompetence and Olympianly aloof political disposition. All of this show clearly that the outgoing Edo State governor has become desperate and now willing to muzzle his way back to government house. But must Edo State become a carnage field of blood, tears, sorrows, and deaths for the realization of his second-term aspirations? We say no to that. The people of Edo State will resist any attempt to intimidate, curtail them into political serfdom. We are not only condemning and deprecating in the strongest terms this daily distribution of illegal arms to mobilize thugs, we demand an investigation and arrest that will be followed by swift prosecution as a mark of seriousness on the part of security agencies to protect the integrity of the September governorship 19th election. Arms proliferation has fueled insecurity in Nigeria for years, and we are convinced and persuaded that by clamping down on Governor Obaseki and his agents of terror, who on a daily basis are funneling and canalizing state funds for the illegal acquisition and distribution of weapons, the security agencies will be laying a marker in the sand and sending a strong and unequivocal signal to other perpetrators of this crime that it will no longer be business as usual. Nothing warrants nor justify this undemocratic inclination to violence where the exchange of ideas should reign supreme. The protection of the integrity of the Edo governorship election from the brooding and sprawling violence of Mr. Godwin Obaseki is a collective obligation that must be shared by all well-meaning citizens and groups interested in the survival of democracy and the constitutional right and freedom of the people to determine the leadership of their state and their representatives in government. The business of electoral franchise is a business of winning the souls and minds of the Edo people. It is not a business of funneling and canalizing state resources to buy arms and ammunition and to distribute to political talks. We say cabudo rejectamenta to the antics of Mr. Governor. It is on this note that I thank you for listening.